Go ahead, Sophia.
Yeah. Yes, I absolutely feel sorry for him because since he was young, he has been followed everywhere. He's been recording everything he said. Every person he talks to is already on the paper and everything. I absolutely believe that the tabloids, they absolutely destroy for his life. And he is entitled to his private life to be private life. I don't like somebody to be recording my conversation, talking to my friends and my families. So, and that is what they did. And his biography, he just talked about it, how he feels and what had happened, and which everybody is entitled to. I don't understand why people are against with that. I understand the royal family, but at the end of the day, we all human. We have feelings. Okay. And he get hurt, and he have to say that.
Let that sit. What you just watched on Jeremy Vine's television show was not controversy. It wasn't outrage bait. It wasn't some fringe take designed to provoke angry headlines. What you just saw was something infinitely more threatening to the British media machine. It was a regular person telling the truth. That was Sophia. Not a royal expert, not a commentator with a book to sell, not a columnist auditioning for a tabloid job. Just a woman, watching from home, calling into a daytime TV show and saying something the UK media has spent years desperately trying to suppress. Prince Harry has been followed, monitored, recorded, intruded upon, and exploited since he was a child. And the tabloids played a central role in destroying his sense of normalcy, safety, and peace. And listen to how calmly she said it. No hysteria, no dramatics, no bitterness, just logic, just empathy, just facts disguised as common sense. She said he's been followed everywhere since he was young. And let's pause right there, because people gloss over that word, young, like it's incidental. It's not. We are not talking about a grown man choosing publicity. We are talking about a child growing up under constant surveillance, a child whose facial expressions were analyzed, whose behavior was mocked, whose grief was monetized. A child who walked behind his mother's coffin while millions watched, and while cameras zoomed in close enough to capture his pain for tomorrow's headlines. That doesn't go away. That doesn't magically disappear when you turn 18. That doesn't evaporate because you have a title or live in a palace. Trauma compounds. And when Sophia said, every word he says, every person he talks to is already in the paper, she wasn't exaggerating. She was describing a system that treated Prince Harry not as a human being, but as an open-source product. Think about that for a moment. Imagine knowing that every conversation you have with friends, with family, with partners could be recorded, leaked, twisted, or sold. Imagine learning that voicemails were hacked, that private messages were intercepted, that journalists listened in on moments you believed were just yours. This isn't paranoia. This isn't speculation. This is proven. This is documented. This is why court cases exist. And yet, somehow, Harry is still the problem. And Sophia said she absolutely believes the tabloids destroyed his life. And people recoil at that word because it makes them uncomfortable. Destroyed feels too strong, too final, too accusatory. But let's be honest. Destroyed doesn't mean he stopped functioning. Destroyed doesn't mean he didn't survive. Destroyed means something vital was damaged, repeatedly, by forces far more powerful than him. Destroyed means trust eroded, safety vanished, boundaries violated, childhood interrupted, grief exploited. And before anyone reaches for the tired line, well, that's the price of being royal, let's dismantle that nonsense right now. No child consents to that price. Prince Harry did not sign a contract at birth agreeing to have his privacy stripped forever. He did not opt in to phone hacking. He did not volunteer to have his relationships weaponized for clicks. He did not agree to be a lifelong punching bag for tabloids that needed easy copy. And yet, that's exactly how he was treated. Then Sophia said something so simple, so relatable, that it blew a hole straight through decades of media justification. She said she wouldn't want someone recording her conversations with friends and family. Exactly. That's it. That's the test. If you wouldn't accept it in your own life, you don't get to excuse it in his. Privacy is not a reward for good behavior. It's not a luxury item. It's not something you earn by staying quiet. It is a basic human right. But when it comes to Prince Harry, suddenly privacy is reframed as entitlement. Boundaries are framed as arrogance. Speaking up is framed as betrayal. And this is where the gaslighting begins. If Harry stays silent, he's brooding and sulking. If he speaks, he's whining and obsessed. If he defends his wife, he's controlled. If he protects his children, he's dramatic. There is no winning. There is only compliance, and even that was never enough. Sophia touched on his biography, Spare, and this is where people really lose their minds, because Spare did something the British media cannot tolerate. It broke the monopoly on Harry's story. For decades, journalists speculated freely about his emotions, his intelligence, his mental health, his motivations. They painted him as reckless, unstable, unintelligent, angry, bitter, depending on the headline of the day. But when he finally spoke for himself, when he added context, when he corrected lies, suddenly it was too much. Make that make sense. The same media that claimed ownership over his narrative suddenly clutched pearls when he reclaimed it. The same commentators who made careers psychoanalyzing him accused him of oversharing when he explained himself. That's not concern, that's control. Sophia said he just talked about how he feels and what happened to him, and she's right. That's all he did. He told his story. He told it carefully, thoughtfully, painfully. And instead of engaging with the substance, the media attacked the act of speaking itself. Because silence was always the goal. What Sophia also said, and this matters, is that she doesn't understand why people are against him doing that. And that confusion is sincere, because when you remove institutional loyalty and tabloid narratives, the opposition to Harry speaking collapses. There is no moral argument against a man telling his own story, unless your priority is protecting systems that harmed him. She acknowledged the royal family, too. She didn't dismiss them. She didn't pit them against him. She simply said what should never be controversial. At the end of the day, we are all human. And somehow, that sentence feels radical in this context. Because humanizing Prince Harry dismantles the caricature and media depends on. Once you accept he has feelings, the jokes stop being funny, the pile-ons stop being justified, the obsession starts to look grotesque. Let's talk about timing. Because while TV panels debate Harry's tone, courtrooms are examining evidence. While commentators roll their eyes, judges are reviewing documents. While tabloids shout victim complex, publishers are settling cases. Phone hacking, unlawful information gathering, voicemail interception, surveillance. These aren't conspiracy theories, these are legal realities. And notice how quiet some outlets get when those stories surface. Notice how coverage suddenly thins out. Notice how attention shifts back to attacking Harry's character instead of examining journalistic misconduct. That's not accidental. That's strategy. Sophia's call matters because it represents something the media can't control. Ordinary people thinking critically. She didn't need expert jargon. She didn't need talking points. She simply connected dots the press hopes viewers never will. That Harry didn't become difficult out of nowhere. That Meghan wasn't the beginning of the problem. That speaking out wasn't betrayal. It was survival. And here's the part they really don't want acknowledged. Sophia is not alone. For every caller brave enough to speak on live television, there are thousands having the same conversation privately, in homes, in group chats, in workplaces. People are reassessing what they were told. They're realizing that Harry didn't turn against the public. He escaped a system that consumed him. The myth that he is universally disliked is just that, a myth, a convenient one, a profitable one, but not a true one. And when people ask why Harry keeps pushing back, keeps speaking, keeps fighting in court, the answer is painfully simple. Silence didn't protect him. Compliance didn't save him. Loyalty didn't shield him. Truth is the only thing that ever has. Sophia didn't need to read court transcripts to understand that. She didn't need palace leaks or media insiders. She needed empathy and the courage to use it on television where she knew she'd be judged for it. And that's why her voice mattered. Because every time someone says, "This wasn't okay," the narrative cracks. Every time someone says he had a right to speak, the gaslighting weakens. Every time someone humanizes Prince Harry, the machinery of cruelty loses power. So no, Sophia wasn't naive. She wasn't uninformed. She wasn't emotional. She was clear. And Prince Harry wasn't wrong. He wasn't excessive. He wasn't disloyal. He was overdue. And the fact that it took an ordinary woman on daytime television to remind people of that says far more about the media than it ever will about him. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Stay safe.